from public to privately owned, from state-funded to individually run. We meet entrepreneurs, public officials, and mom-and-pop shops. Join us behind the scenes for exclusive interviews with determined individuals on their road to success. We are the Mitten Road Show, and this is Wayland.
Today we're with Ryan over at Jayda Gale. So tell me a little bit about how you picked the name.
So the name is actually comprised from my daughter's middle names.
Okay.
I put it together, this is a family business, and hopefully that's what it'll always be, to give them a little bit of pride in what it is. And in the end, when it all came together, it sounds like a flagship for something far bigger. Mm-hmm. So hopefully it turns out for my plan.
This kind of sounds synonymous, like a big industrial word, like Coke, like it's just a brand.
Right.
So
hopefully that's the way it plays out.
And then you have a tagline. What is it? What is this?
Oh, where spirits are lifted.
Yes. Yeah.
It's I want this place to be kind of a pub, so everybody comes here and enjoys themselves and communicates like we used to and whatnot. Mm-hmm. At the same time, we're hopefully going to be tipping back some cool craft spirits that are unlike anything else in the market.
Yeah. This place, this didn't used to look like this. This used to be just a shop. This used to be a carpet store. What's the history behind this building?
So right around the 1900s, Wayland burnt to the ground. And then when it was built back, originally it was a furniture store and a funeral parlor, and then it was owned by the same company, so it was Bennett's Furniture and Funeral. It's been a meat market, it's been a used car lot, it's been an auto parts store, it was the carpet store starting in '76, and then somewhere in the '80s it got a little Radio Shack inside of it.
Okay.
It's been a little bit of everything. And we've kind of found evidence of just about every business it's been. When it burnt to the ground, it was a tack shop.
Okay.
So we found some of that in the dirt.
And you said that some of the stuff you found, I was looking at some of the tables, there's stuff that's in there.
Yep.
Where did you get that stuff?
Everything was found in the walls, in the floor, in the ceiling. I disassembled this place by hand. There wasn't a construction crew, so sometimes you pop off a piece of old plaster and lath, and something was hidden behind there.
Find a little prize behind there.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, it became a real scavenger hunt. When we redid the kitchen area, we found pretty much a pile of ash that was remnants of the tack shop. So there's a horseshoe, and there's some old leather goods and some buckles and whatnot that were left after the fire because they just flattened it out and built back over it.
Yeah. Is there anything that was in there that you were like, your favorite thing that you found?
There's a couple of things. I have two different pistol casings, one that came out of the floor, one that came out of the ceiling. I have a little pipe. It's a little folding pocket pipe that was found in the front corner, and a tobacco can that was full of corn silk. And when I was a little kid, my grandfather told me about him and the buddies going out to the barn, and they'd take his dad's pipe, but he knew how much tobacco he had, so they'd go out there and smoke corn silk.
Gotcha.
So finding this little can full of corn silk, that was like really touching for me. Like, holy cow. And anybody that I've told it to, nobody's ever heard of anybody smoking corn silk. So That's one of those crazy things
sure,
that
sure.
apparently I know.
Whoa. And how old are you?
I'm 39.
Okay. All right. So what made you decide I'm going to get a distillery? The dream? Is it?
It's a little bit of everything. I'm really big into the craft industry. I love craft beer. I love where craft was going with the recycle, reuse. I love the hard work that was involved in the first breweries and whatnot. And I was given the opportunity to do something for myself. And I kind of felt like the brewing industry, you were going to have to really know your stuff and be somebody to open a brewery, at least to do it right. And I just posed a question one day, what about spirits and how come nobody's doing it? And so I did a little bit of research, found out that things in Michigan had changed in Michigan had changed in 2009. I found Koval in Chicago, which is the first distillery in Chicago since Prohibition. We went to a class over there, spent 3 days with them, learned everything from manufacturing, running the still, to advertising, to legality, all that sort of stuff. In the end,
that wasn't a free class.
It was a paid for class,
sure.
But instead of just diving in blind,
it
gave me, it was a real big eye opener. But in the end, we did 6 hours of taste testing. Sounds great, was terrible. But it really opened my eyes to the industry, what's out there, what people think is great, how powerful marketing is. And I walked out of there and said, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Some of the flavors that Koval themselves made was just phenomenal compared to what I've known growing up and partying and doing all those things. Like, wow, this is what a
some of the staples and advertising that you see, and you're like, oh, this is everywhere.
Yeah,
but it's junk compared to the stuff I've never heard of.
When you try one of their liqueurs versus like the cheap schnapps that we've always known, De Kuyper or Arrow or whatever. Holy cow! I mean, night and day difference, and it makes you actually enjoy a drink, not struggle to get it down. For the end
usually
result.
When you have those, you're like, you're two-man, or you're just you're at a party, you're like, okay, well, it's past the bottle time.
Right. And everybody makes that face, and
like, oh. It's so good and so bad at the same time.
That's part of the end result, not the enjoyment of it. So, in the end, went to Journeyman, American Fifth over in Lansing. Love those guys. Of course, Long Road in Grand Rapids, beer distilling. These guys are all doing some amazing things, and I really want to be a part of that. I mean, it is impressive what they're doing, and I think there is so much groundwork to be done. There's so many things that we can do that nobody's even touched. And I'm definitely an out-of-the-box kind of guy.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to make some bad stuff.
Yeah.
But I hope to make some really cool things that nobody's ever seen before.
So what are you most excited about? I mean, obviously the spirits, but when it comes to the actual spirits, what are you most excited about to make? Is there a certain, like you said, liqueurs, are you excited to make something that no one else has ever tried or made? Or
I'm more excited to find new processes.
Okay.
Forever we've put whiskey in barrels, and it has to be there for 2 years, and all these rules and regulations, but those are only rules to call it a product.
Okay.
You can make a product and completely put it together a different way. You just can't call it whiskey, or you can't call it bourbon. You have to follow these guidelines. Well, there's a million different directions to go without following those guidelines. Still make a very cool product. It's just different.
Gotcha.
It's not, I don't want to say it's not accepted in the culture, but it's not what we've always done, so everybody's, I think, afraid to jump out of that box.
So if you want to make a whiskey, it has to be done the whiskey way.
Yep.
And if you want to make something that tastes like a whiskey, done a different way, what do you call that?
You just have to come up with a new name.
Okay.
And it's basically, it's just a grain spirit. You can't legally call it whiskey, you can't legally call it bourbon.
What if you spell it weird, like whiskey or something? Right?
Exactly. It's all doable.
Okay.
But I think that everybody they're kind of stuck in the ritual.
Yeah.
And, on a big scale, it's scary to try and do something and, hope that it makes.
Yeah. I'm
on a tiny scale.
Yeah.
So I can do whatever I want. And if I fail a batch, I lost, a little bit of money.
Yeah.
I hope that as part of my mug club or coaster club, I will have a group that will come in and do tastings and tell me this is good or this is bad. I'll do things a couple different ways, and then we'll decide what's the best and what we're going to put in a bottle and what we're going to market. And You know, let the people who are involved in Jayda Gale make a decision on what's good instead of, you know, me taking a crack at it,
Yeah.
hoping I had the right taste.
Making all of one thing because you like it.
Yeah.
And I mean, who knows? Maybe you love whiskey, and the town loves vodka.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got to make vodka.
And really, you know, especially after that tasting, you know, there are some products that I thought were terrible. Tequila I would never drink.
Yeah.
But I learned so much, and there are so many products that I absolutely love, and I've become, I don't want to say a connoisseur, but I have a lot of appreciation for alcohol across the board, as far as, you know, what I enjoy, what's a good product, versus just who said it's top shelf.
A lot of times, top shelf, you know, the rateds mean you paid a lot to be there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'll tell you a little story. In that tasting, 39 people in the class, we did vodka.
Okay.
Vodka should be pretty simple. Clean spirit, touches carbon. Those are the only rules. Had to be distilled at 94% alcohol. We did this tasting. 39 people in the class chose, well, 39 out of 39 chose one vodka. And Robert, the owner of Koval, was really surprised. This vodka was clean. It was a little bit sweet. It wasn't harsh at all. It was Wolfschmidt, which is Costco's cheapest $12 per half gallon vodka, and this was put up against Kettle One, Grey Goose,
Yeah.
all the top shelf stuff. We had it all side by
Just
side.
blind taste test?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, little tiny glasses. You know, take your sip, spit it out, rinse your mouth, start over.
Yeah.
And yeah, Wolfschmidt was
Really?
the best vodka.
Wow.
And it kind of blows your mind that all these guys, you know, they just claim to be the best.
Gotcha.
They've advertised enough that we believe they're the best. The power of marketing became absolutely apparent. I mean,
Yeah.
holy cow.
So when that happened, were there people who, does it kind of break somebody down? Like when that happens, you're like, oh wow, it kind of makes your mind like open up like, okay, well, now I don't have to be judgmental, like saying, come at a certain distillery and say, okay, well, now I'm going to scrutinize everything they do because there's this $12 half gallon or whatever it may be that one taste testings out of like $50 for a pint.
Right.
You know, I mean, do you think that happened there, or were people like?
It definitely made everybody think.
Yeah.
Like, how is their product better? I mean, that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing when you're looking at getting into the industry. How did they find the secret?
Yeah.
And obviously they're mass producing it, you know, millions of gallons a year. So apparently they've got the key to making the perfect product. When
For those 39 people there, for sure, yeah.
When these other companies who, you know, they're probably not making the same amount of liquor, so they're doing things on a smaller scale, should be able to control the environment.
Yeah.
And either their tasters are saying this is good, or they're just not putting the work in that somebody else did. And whether it's an old world culture that, you know, knows the key and what good product was, whether it's a little bit more effort to make a better end result.
Or maybe they found somebody that has been doing it for 100 years.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, can you do 100 million gallons of this
Right.
stuff per year? And they're like, yep, sounds good. Let's build a facility.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know, but it kind of sends you on a quest.
Yeah.
Now, you know, a lot of times when I go to the bar, I'll pick out a couple things and I'll put them side by side.
Okay.
And I'll try a shot of this and I'll try a shot of that, see what I like, what I don't like, and quit just turning to the big name.
Sure, yeah.
So the bartender says it's top shelf. Guarantee there's something better up there.
So what's your favorite top shelf? Known anything? Like, what do you normally go out and drink?
Right now, if you can find it and it's kind of sparse, Tin Cup.
Okay.
I really appreciate as a whiskey. Really good stuff. I mean, when I'm enjoying something, because I'm in the industry, I tend to lean to craft.
Sure.
But I think pretty much hands down, they make a better product than all the big names. So Traverse City Distilling makes some cool stuff. Like I said, you know, Koval, American Fifth. We've got bottles from all these guys.
Yeah.
Long Road, Beer Distilling. You know, all great products. But you put them all side by side and decide for yourself.
Sure.
I think that's one of the hardest things in the industry when it comes to marketing is that as liquor drinkers, 90% of us drink what we've been introduced to. It's what dad had or grandpa had or your friends brought to a party. You don't go spend $35, $40 on a bottle of whiskey at you know, the grocery store and hope that it's what you like.
Yeah.
That's not what we do.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But it's weird because the beer industry is the exact opposite, I feel like.
Yeah, but you're looking at $10 a six pack versus $40 a bottle.
Yeah.
I think there's a slight disconnect in the industry that everybody's putting stuff in big bottles. If they would put more things in small bottles, they could potentially sell more and introduce their product to more people, because
you have a lower price point.
Yeah, spending $15, $20 on a little bottle versus you know, $30, $60 on a big bottle. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you can try stuff. I mean, it's probably the same reason why those little shooters are popular.
Yeah.
Because you can spend, you know, $3 on something and try it. If you don't like it, you're out $3.
And 90% of the time, you're not going to go through a fifth and a ninth anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to pick up a fifth, you're going to do a couple shots, maybe make a couple of cocktails, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Now you got 3/4 of a fifth, and you're like, that wasn't great.
Yeah.
Now what
it
do I
just
do?
sits on your shelf and looks
Yeah.
pretty.
And it's not 100 proof, so you can't even start fires with it.
Yeah. So, what made you decide Wayland? I mean, like, of all places, are you from here?
I'm born and raised in Plano.
Okay.
Grew up, graduated from Plano High School. My dentist was up here. My veterinarian was up here as a kid. You know, for some weird reason, spent a lot of time up here. My grandma, there used to be a meat market in Moline.
Okay.
That's where my grandma got meat when I was a kid. She'd drive all the way up here. And, you know, I really like the area. Strategically, I think it's poised for growth,
Yeah.
both because of the casino and the expansion in Grand Rapids. So I
Yeah.
got it coming from both ways. But you know, for the most part, a good town, good people, a little quiet, but ready for something new.
Yeah, I think everyone is. I think that this place especially is something that everyone talks about. I mean, weekly. You
Yeah.
know, when is that place open? When is that place open?
I'm
And
trying.
I'm sure you're hearing that every day. Like, come on, Ryan, let's open this place. They want to enjoy it, you know. And you're trying. I mean, I think you went about it a different route than about everybody else.
Yeah, you know, it's really important for me to have my hands in everything.
Yeah.
And building this place from the ground up was really important for me. I think craft is only as good as the effort you want to put in. You know, not to attack anybody, but for these guys that get investors and throw $1 million at a project just to open the doors and make a product, that's not who I want to be.
Yeah. You can tell that every nail is struck by you. Your
Yeah.
dad helped with the railing.
Yeah, I mean, between me and my parents, a couple other key individuals, this thing was handmade. There was
Yeah.
not a construction crew. You can't really tell now, but there's some huge LVL beams in here.
Okay.
Me and two guys put all those beams up. The longest board it's 1.5 inches, 16 inches tall. It's 44 feet long.
Wow.
We put that whole thing up together, and there's 5 of them stacked and staggered.
Okay.
So that was me and two guys.
Fun.
And a little bit of ingenuity and
Yeah.
you know, a lot of sweat and cussing, but
Yeah.
I've got some cool pictures of this place. I call it the Toothpick Forest because we had taken out all the supports.
Oh, wow.
So that we could put the LVLs up. But we had 2x4s just everywhere. Supporting the building. At one point when we had the front off, we literally had the entire front and part of the side of the building off. And there wasn't really anything supporting it. It was just hanging out there. You could have driven a car right in here. You know, if it would have been a real construction site, they would have had tons of equipment, you know, all sorts of supports, and I gambled. Yeah. Yeah, and done.
Yeah.
So
what are you most proud of when it comes to the actual inside of the building, besides the distillery part?
You know, I mean,
A little bit of everything.
a little bit of everything. The maple flooring is the original maple floor. We pulled all that up piece at a time, supported the joists. We had to pour concrete in the crawl space to seal it up for the health department. Then put down subfloor and leveled everything out. And then we spent a week cleaning tongues and grooves on all this maple flooring and put it all back down.
Yeah.
That in itself is something most people would never venture to do. I mean, and if you look at it, it's rough. It's been used. It's 110 years old.
I think it fits it though. I mean, it's totally. I think of it as just like a workman's floor, like, but it's got beautiful color. I mean, it's got greens and blues and.
When we sanded it, Henry Clock, who used to be the candy maker here in town,
Okay.
Awesome Chocolates.
Yeah.
Me and him came in here with a pair of walk behind floor sanders, and I just wanted to smooth it out a little bit, leave it eclectic, leave all of its history as much as we could. So we spent 8 hours just riding around Sanders and, trying to smooth it out, trying to get a lot of the catches out of it and whatnot, taking off some of the paint, but leaving some of the paint.
Yeah.
Because its history is important.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Now, these tables, these are not tables you get.
These are
from
tables
Costco.
these are tables are unlike anybody else's. My dad built all the frames. We made one trial, and then we decided to come up with a design. The tabletops are made from the same maple flooring that the floor is.
Okay.
It actually was recycled from the kitchen area where we poured concrete.
Okay.
So we assembled all these, glued them together. He built the frames to match each piece, and then we set them in there. And I've got 4 shadow boxes that are steel frames with glass tops that hold a little of the evidence of
the remnants of the buildings from
Yeah.
previous.
Yep, little knickknacks and all sorts of cool stuff that came out of this place. The banquette that's made from recycled flooring that came from a little house in Martin.
Okay.
It's all the tongue and groove pine that was on the floor in a little house that my mom tore down. Same way with the lath line boards that are on the walls and on the beams. Those were the support boards behind the lath boards in that same little house.
Oh, so cool.
This
this is stuff that people would pay so much money
Yeah.
to have, and you recycled it. You took it. I'm sure it took you twice as long because you have to take it apart, disassemble it, and then
take all the nails out, all that stuff. Yeah.
put it where it should be. That's a work of art.
Yeah, try and do things so you don't cut ends and you leave boards whole. And even like around the windows, it's jagged because I kind of wanted you to have this feeling of being in an old structure.
Yeah.
And looking at the sterile side of the distillery and whatnot. But
obviously the distillery is a new construction, but it looks like you try to tie some older looking things, but it's still you can still there's power, there's
the tin brick that's on the wall is the backsplash. Originally the building was sided in that tin brick. If you look at the old photos, it kind of looks like lap siding because the photos were poor quality. But when we tore the outside off, the tin brick was still on there.
Okay.
And at one time, SHPO got involved with my facade grant and wanted me to use that product on the outside of the building. Well, it didn't last in Michigan.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to last now, especially the amount of salt we put on the roads and whatnot. Give it a few years.
It'll be done.
It would have been, leaking and popping nails and all sorts of cool stuff. Well, happened to find the company that makes that product has the original dies and presses from the 1800s. Probably the company that originally made the siding that's on this building. So I convinced the design committee to let me do lap siding the outside, still make the building look historic and whatnot, but bought those sheets so that I could use them inside and hold on to my history a little bit.
Yeah.
I wish that it was, obviously I wish it was a brick building and whatnot, but hold on to my heritage, have that, so I can tell this story.
Yeah.
This is how the building was built. And for a backsplash and whatnot, it works pretty ideal. It's different from the corrugated galvanized that everybody else is getting their hands on.
No, it looks it's a beautiful piece in there. It really is.
Thank you.
So what about the menu? Are you guys going to be serving food here?
Yeah, full sit down restaurant. We're shooting for smaller plates and a little bit of comfort food with a flair.
Okay.
We're going to do things a little bit different. I hope that everything on our menu is unlike anything else here in town. I don't want to directly compete with anybody.
Yeah.
But I also want you to have an experience here. This isn't just about liquor. This is about craft. The people in the kitchen know that, what we do speaks volumes about us. I don't want you to just come in and have a burger. I don't want you to just come in and just have a sandwich. I want you to go, wow, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was a great meal.
Because everyone can get spaghetti everywhere.
Right.
They can't get whatever your signature thing is here.
There's some certain things like our burger is going to be 30% bacon.
Okay. I can get down with that.
Yeah. We're going to grind it ourselves and make it a little bit different.
Sweet.
We're making a muffalata. We're doing some...
What's a muffalata?
Fancy sandwich.
Okay.
It's got a...
Was it fancy sauce too? Or?
Yeah, it does.
That's great.
Yeah. I'll even give you a tub of fancy ketchup.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's got a really cool olive spread on it. The guys at Gordon Foods actually, 5 of them came here to meet me, check out the building, and see what I was about.
Okay.
And were so impressed that they helped me build a menu from the ground up, including a whole bunch of craft things that nobody else has done, putting twists on common things and whatnot. For right now, making it easy on the kitchen, but making it unlike anything else, completely out of the box.
So then you can, evolve as time goes on.
The plan is the menu is going to constantly change.
Yeah.
There's some things I want to do, like fish in the spring, game in the fall, hit some of those key Michigan things that are really important to us. At the same time, amp them up a little bit. We're not just going to do salmon, even when it comes to game, everybody thinks, doing venison, or maybe buffalo. But I want to do things like pheasant, maybe rabbit, things that, where do you see it? Where do you get it? Nobody's got it. So, or you're going to spend a huge amount of coin to get it, and I don't want to shoot for that. So
it sounds like you're in against the grain, no pun intended.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really...
definitely. Not that I want to make an attack on the industry or anything like that, but I definitely want to be different. I want to
I think that'll set you apart too.
Well, born and raised blue collar. I don't want to be above anybody else, and I want blue collar people to be able to come here and enjoy a meal. I don't want you to have to drop $100 to be at Jayda Gale. That's really important to me. And maybe down the road things are going to change a little bit. I may have to raise my prices to succeed.
Sure.
I don't really know. There's a lot of gray area, but when I open the doors, that's what I'm shooting for.
Now, the common question that I'm sure you've been asked all the time, weekly, when are we going to open? I mean, it's been how long? I mean,
I've been working on this. Actually, this month marks 4 years since I bought this building.
Wow.
And in fact, even like the MLCC, when they came in here to do my inspection, was like, so you really haven't changed anything from your original drawings? Nope. I've stuck to it. This is still me. This is what I'm doing. I mean, I've had people say that I took my loan and ran, and that they were going to condemn the building and all sorts of cool rumors, but I've been right here.
So what's the story behind? I mean, do you still have a job? Is it?
Yeah, I took a job with Gordon Foods.
Okay.
I've done a little bit of everything. I worked at Middleville Tool and Die. I worked at Mack and Byron Center. I worked at ISS, which is a burn-off place up in Grand Rapids, as a maintenance man. Now I work at GFS in the warehouse as a picker.
Okay, cool.
Those guys coming in here and meeting me and whatnot spoke volumes about the company that they worked for.
Yeah.
And so I did some research and whatnot and ended up and applied. Thus far, I love my job. So.
So when this place opens, will you leave GFS? Or
for a while, I still got bills to pay.
Sure.
And I don't want to rely on this place to pay my bills.
Yeah.
Unless I'm here working, I don't feel I deserve a paycheck.
Gotcha.
So we'll make sure that this place is safe and doing what it's supposed to do and whatnot before I ever think about this being my full-time gig.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of plans for the future, and hopefully I can continue with those, but those also involve paying my own bills. So,
Yeah.
So I'm going to swing both as long as I can.
So when it comes to the distilling, is this something that you and your family is going to do, or is it just you?
It'll be me.
Okay.
I will be the
so
man scientist.
you're the
Yeah.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And I see the white tanks. What are those for? I mean,
So,
I think I know what they're for, but
I have 6, and I just ordered another one. I'll have 7 110-gallon fermenters,
Okay.
a 55-gallon still, a 26-gallon still. There's a 50-gallon or 60-gallon cook pot in the back.
Okay.
So I'll have to mash in twice to fill a fermenter. I can run twice out of those fermenters. I've set myself up to run 6 days a week, twice a day. That's approximately 10 gallons of ethanol per run,
okay,
or per day. Divided by, or times 5.
That's quite a bit.
That's 50/5 a day that I could potentially produce.
Wow,
So,
that's quite a bit. And are you going to have to go?
yes, we will be distributing out of the storefront.
Okay.
If I ever go to a shelf, it'll be a long time.
Gotcha.
I'm not really interested in that industry. I want you to come here, hopefully enjoy a meal, and take a bottle to go.
Well, just like you said, you don't want someone to spend $30 on something that they don't want. So come here, try a couple of.
Yeah, take what you like.
Yep.
Share it with friends and bring them back.
Yeah, great. So, so there's going to be kind of a storefront or a shelf space where.
Yep. The shelves behind the bar, the ones to the right are.
Okay.
They will be a little bit of display shelving for what we have. I'll have a display on my side of the glass for products, maybe up and coming products, things like that. This is, I have a dream, but it's still a work in progress, and daily things change. So,
yeah. So do you think by summer 2018 is going to be the?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. The restaurant is approved for opening now.
Okay.
So it could be open. I'm stuck in this gray area where I'm working on some MLC stuff that got hung up, and
explain what MLC is for.
MLCC, the Michigan Liquor Commission.
Okay.
Control Commission. Yeah.
So when you have a distillery, you have to apply for a distiller's license, correct?
Right.
So it's not like you just get a liquor license and then you're done.
Yeah, this is not a Class C. I have a manufacturing license. I also have a small winemaker's license.
Okay.
So eventually I'll have wine and hard cider here, along with spirits. Spirits obviously being the focus.
Sure.
But as far as wine and cider, we'll deal locally with somebody else until I find somebody who knows that market and wants to start manufacturing for me.
Gotcha.
Because obviously I'm a little busy.
Yeah, you're busy with the craft of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Is there, what else should we know about this place?
I don't really know. I mean, I'm shooting for the future. This is just the start, I hope.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of plans for Wayland, a lot of plans for Jayda Gale, and I don't plan on stopping here. It's just getting the doors open. This is the very first chess piece.
So do you think there'll be more Jayda Gales down the road?
I
mean, it sounds like you've got more plans than just like, I'm gonna do 55 gallons of liquor a day and 28 this and that and.
There's a million businesses I want to be involved in. There's a million businesses that I want to have my fingers in, mostly to self-support myself. But, I want to know what's going on. I want somebody else to operate them. There's a couple of things that I want for me, but we'll see. We'll see where we go from here.
Cool. I'm excited.
So.
I'm excited to see the transformation from when it goes from, this being not open for 4 years to the doors are open. I feel like it's going to be like an avalanche of people. Every week I get asked. I've only met you a couple times, so it's like.
In one aspect, I really hope so. In another aspect, I want to take it slow and calm because I don't want to make a lot of the mistakes that other places have made.
Yeah.
We've seen breweries run out of beer and restaurants run out of food, and although they're good problems to have, they're terrible problems when it comes to marketing.
Because bad word spreads so fast.
Especially with social media. You can get bad marks real quick. And I grew up in a time with Siskel and Ebert, who did movie reviews, and when they said it was a bad review, I went to check it out just to make sure they were wrong. And I do that same stuff with restaurants and breweries. I'm like, oh, they got terrible reviews. Let's go see.
See what this place is all about.
But at the same time, I don't want terrible reviews.
Yelp. Oh my gosh, there's one thing about that thing. Everyone always gets on Yelp just to complain.
Yep.
I feel like Facebook is a really real complaint.
Right.
If there's a couple on there, if their ratings are like 2 point something, you're like, oh, what's going on?
And as a business owner, it's important that you address them.
Yeah.
Take
ownership too.
If we made a mistake, if somebody dropped something, whatever the case may be, if you didn't like our product, hey, let's fix it. Let's see what we can do. Let's make sure your next experience isn't the same way. But unfortunately, too many businesses want to attack the people who are unhappy. And like when it comes to Yelp, I know that 85% of the people on there are just generally unhappy. Those are the people you hear from. But at the same time, you got to take them all serious.
Sure. Yep.
Because it could be that one person that is unhappy today because of what happened, and that should be important to you as a business owner.
Exactly. I couldn't agree with you more, especially when you talk about taking ownership and addressing the issues. There's so many times where, or even attacking, I see it so many times, the owner will say like, oh, I'm glad you didn't enjoy our meal. It's like, why would you think to say that? Like, so what is this photo? What is this of?
So that is, it looks like Independence Day. It's right around the rebuild of Wayland after it burnt to the ground. There's 2 Model Ts in that photo. Everything else is horse and carriage. So it puts it around 1909, which would have been the start of the Model Ts when only the wealthy had them.
So it sounds like Wayland back in the day was...
Well, Wayland was part of the Plank Road. This was the main intersection between Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo. This is the road that everybody took to get from place to place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, originally it started as just a logging town. It was covered in pine trees and was logged out and, you know, turned into a little, not really a boom town, but a little town because of that. And then, you know, slowly developed over the years.
This is a picture of the side of your building.
Yeah, this is the building in the mid-'70s, late '60s, mid-'70s, when Wayland Carpet was first put here. You know, obviously it had a garage and stuff out back. All of that was disassembled, and then an addition was put on the back. The alley was put in, which isn't really, the dry cleaner wasn't there, that is there behind me now.
Looks like there was probably an apartment above or
Yep,
something.
there used to be a pair of apartments upstairs.
And now it's extra seating, or?
Yeah, eventually, once the ground floor gets open, we're immediately working on the upstairs. So I have 60 seats downstairs. I'll have another 100 upstairs.
Oh wow.
With a full sit-down bar.
That's great.
This is the building as I bought it.
So when you bought it, it was Wayland Carpet.
Yep, owned by Dave Mandeville. Originally owned by Burl Stein. He's the one who put it here. In '75, I think, when he bought the building, it was actually condemned. He renovated the whole thing, put it all back together.
So when you bought it, was there only one door up front?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you put the other...
Yep, I put the other door in. I had to for...
fire.
Yeah, for fire code and TTV regulations. I have to have my own entrance and exit.
And it looks like there's an extra step.
Yeah, well, there's a step out front. There was 2 steps.
Okay.
We did away with one and changed the front entry. Actually brought it into the building and made a long sloping step.
Like a slope, yeah.
That's actually heated, so I don't have to worry about snow on it.
Gotcha.
Once I get the system up and going, yeah.
Is it up through a boiler?
No, it's actually through heat recycling through my furnaces.
Okay.
Same way with the whole back sidewalk that goes around the addition space.
Gotcha.
That whole sidewalk is heated too.
Gotcha. So you
It gets rid of liability, yeah.
Okay. Great. I did that for my driveway.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This one is a picture of, what is that?
Well, this is when it was a funeral home. This is somewhere in the 30s. You know, obviously no date on them, judging by the vehicles. It's mid to late 30s.
That's so cool. It just says soda, and then funeral home. Consumers Power Company right downtown.
Yep.
That's just something you don't see anymore. The red and white store, that's probably a convenience or drugstore, right?
Yeah, the buildings next to me, I mean, it swapped back and forth between hardware stores and furniture places, and you know, Wayland has had 100 different facelifts.
Yeah, it's even nowadays there's still facelifts. This one is a picture of.
Yeah, this is the Wayland Carpet Store, 1976. So, you know, the inaugural year, 1776, 1976, all that good stuff. But this is soon after Burl Stein opened up the building.
You can see that he closed up some windows, it looks like.
Yeah, he closed up some windows. He changed the door, removed a door from the front, put in one entry. I think this is actually pre-addition in the back when they did a major renovation. Mm-hmm. This is when they just got the building up and going. Originally, the business was down the street, I believe, where Frida's Fish Fry was, the big blue building.
Yep.
That's where the carpet store was originally.
This is a picture.
Obviously, late teens, early 20s.
You can tell by the cars.
Yeah, judge everything by autos.
Hey,
I love cars.
That's good. Furniture store back then. There's still the power company.
Yeah, that would have been
now
Bennett's.
It's called something else. The something Peninsula Power Company.
Lower Peninsula.
Is that what it says?
I think so.
Oh my gosh. How cool is that? Thanks again, Ryan, for letting us come into your home. Your 4 years of home in the making here in Wayland.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Jayda Gale check them out, Wayland, Michigan. It's a locally run place, and this guy's gonna crush it here next year and the following years, because there's some sweet stuff coming in the back building, another building, and don't forget to like them on Facebook, like us. This is Wayland, Mitten Road Show's here, and if you share this, we're gonna give away some gift cards. In the description down below, we'll have the actual gift cards that we're gonna give away, and we'll see you on the next trip.
Perfect.